Hello and welcome to the second podcast of Doggyland Play Park. We're here today with Lisa
Hello,
and
everyone. And we have a very special guest. We have Darla Sparr from Sparr Kennel. And she has been in business for over 20 years. Um, West German Showline German Shepherd breeding. And she also has been a dog trainer for about 15 years. So, welcome, Darla.
Thanks for having me, Jake and Lisa. Nice talking to you.
So today our podcast is about German Shepherd dog breed. A lot of folks are always thinking about getting a German Shepherd puppy, Darla, and you are expert in this, subject. And so I wanted to give a little something to our listeners about some of you guys that are thinking about getting a German Shepherd dog. And there's some specific things that you should research ahead of time. Don't you think, Darla?
Absolutely, Lisa. The German Shepherd is a wonderful dog, but is definitely not a breed for everyone. German Shepherds are active, they're highly intelligent, they're bigger dogs, and you have to fit all of these things in to see if they fit into your life. Active dogs are not going to be overly happy laying around all the time. And so you really have to think of what your family lifestyle is like, what you are like, all of this, and then also take into consideration that they are a very protective breed, and you have to be able to handle and put the effort into training your German Shepherd. And in my opinion, of course, I am slightly prejudiced, but I do feel you'll have one of the best dogs you'll ever have.
That is true. That is true. I'm also an owner of a German Shepherd dog, and you are absolutely right. You need to put the time and effort in. They are a very active breed. They are very intelligent. So not only do you have to physically stimulate and exercise them, but mentally as well.
Absolutely. It's just as important as the physical activity. As I said, they're extremely intelligent. Their mind needs to be challenged because, believe me, if you don't challenge it, they'll think of ways to do it themselves.
Yes, they will. That is for sure. What other things should first time German Shepherd dog owners know about this breed?
Well, first of all, just about everyone asks, how much shedding do they do?
Oh, yes,
well,
the shedding.
I will tell you, if you don't like to groom or you don't like hair, the German Shepherd breed is not for you, because
Yes.
they do take quite a bit of grooming. As long as you stay on top of it, you're fine, but they do need brushing and keeping their coats nice. The German Shepherd comes in a long-haired version and in a stock coat version. The long coats tend to need more grooming, as you would guess, because of the longer fur, but you tend to keep up on it more too, so they don't seem to shed as much or any more anyway than what the stock coat dog does. But again, they do need a lot of grooming care.
Absolutely.
Second, yes. Another thing that's very important is socialization.
Yes, thank you.
German Shepherd is a very protective breed.
By nature. Yeah.
And the best thing to do, and I recommend this to all of our new puppy buyers, as soon as you get your puppy, you start socialization and training starts right here from the time they're born. We play with the puppies. We do all kinds of environmental things while they're here. When they're very young puppies, they can't be around a lot of people simply because their immune systems aren't developed enough yet. But once they're old enough, we have them meeting people. We have them around other dogs. We're on different surfaces. We start training right away with them. And it just makes them turn into a much better dog. And the socialization really comes in, because if you have a dog that you don't socialize well, especially like a German Shepherd, they get overly protective. And that's not necessarily a good thing, because you want a dog that you're going to be able to invite people into your home with.
Yes.
And you do not want a dog that is aggressive or barking, etc.
Yes.
You want a dog that you're going to be comfortable having other people around, so that you don't have to worry, that they might bite or anything like that. And believe me, if they are well trained and well socialized, they are as comfortable as any other breed can be around your family, around other people, anything. They're just, but you have to put the time in with the socialization and the training.
Exactly. And for our listeners, I get this question a lot as a dog trainer myself, is what age do we start training? What is the age that you start training? Do you have a certain age, Darla, that you recommend?
Well, actually, I tell everybody we start here. We start doing something, as I said earlier, when they're little puppies, when they're being born, we handle them. We feel their feet. We feel their ears. We're playing with their, petting them and touching them. And that's all part of training.
Yes.
As far as when do I start training my puppy, when I take it home?
Yes.
Immediately.
Yes, I agree.
There is no such thing. I've heard so many people tell me, oh, you shouldn't start training till they're 6 months old. No, you've wasted 6 months.
Yeah, by that time, it's almost getting a little late, because...
And they're getting pretty big.
Yeah, they're getting pretty big. And German Shepherds kind of start showing their personalities a lot at 6 months. They can get some bad habits by then.
Oh, plenty of, absolutely. That's why I tell all of our puppy buyers and anybody that is interested in the breed, especially like when we're training. And my husband and I both have done a lot of training with aggressive dogs, and unfortunately, it's generally, and I can almost say 90% of the time, it is not the dog that is aggressive. It is the person that has not, the owner that has not stepped up to the plate and trained the dog properly, or, did earlier supervision and socialization and everything with it. So when I say right away, I do mean it. Before you even bring your puppy home, start thinking about, what do I want my dog, what are the rules going to be for my dog? When my dog is 80 pounds, am I going to want it sleeping in bed with us? Am I going to want it on the furniture, especially with the Shepherds? They shed a lot.
Right.
You have to think of all of these things, because the dog has to be trained so that it understands what both people want. You can't have two people in a family and one person says, oh, yeah, they can be on the furniture. And then the other one says, get that dog off my furniture.
Yes.
No, you have to be consistent in your training. So that's why I tell everybody, when you start seeing your puppy and when you start thinking about them, start thinking of what you want your puppy to do. How do you want it to behave? Because it's much easier to train it right from the start, the way you want it to be. Not wait until 2 years down the road and you think, you know what? Boy, this 80, 90, 100-pound dog just really doesn't fit in the bed with us.
Yeah.
It's much easier as a puppy to train it that maybe it sleeps on the floor next to you, or maybe it's crated. Whatever your family is deciding, but it has to be consistent. So you start with that. And then, of course, as puppies, when you're bringing them home, you're starting potty training, and you are... Dennis and I think that probably two of the first things you should teach them is taking a leave it command, and even before that, to take a treat gently.
I agree. Yes.
Those are very important things, because nobody likes to see their friend's little child come over and have something in their hand, and the dog decides that it's going to eat it and, grabs at their hand. This is not a good thing, and people don't like it. So we teach our dogs, we use easy or gentle, whichever one you prefer. You could use any word, whatever pleases you or works for you guys, but we show everybody that gets a puppy how to train this, because it's so important. And when you do that, you will have a dog that will be able to take a treat out of a baby's hand, and the baby will never even know that the dog was near it.
Yes, that
because
is good.
They can take those treats out of their hands without even touching them. And then as they get older, you always, you start the leave it command as they get a little bit older. But again, as soon as they know the gentle command or the wait, anything like that, you always start obedience right away too. It's so much easier when they're young puppies. They're so open to everything, and they want to please you so much, and they're smaller. You don't have to worry about, like, when they're a year old and they weigh 80 pounds and you're trying to correct them.
Some bad habits.
On a leash, for instance. At 80 pounds, they can pull you down the street.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
If you haven't taught them properly. So I can't emphasize enough. When you bring your puppy home, you start. You start and just keep training them. And I know sometimes you'll think, oh my goodness, are we doing any good? But you know what? You will. And once the dog has grown, you will have the best partner, friend, protector any family could have.
You will. And a little bit to go off, I hear a lot, German Shepherd puppies, the piranha teeth. The piranha teeth when they're puppies. And I tell a lot of folks, just stick with it. It will pass. What are some good, quick hints or tips for that time? What do we give them to chew on?
Actually, we want to find good, safe toys. With German Shepherds especially, they have like the most, I think, like the second hardest bite force. Of course, it's less as a puppy, but they're going to grow up to be good biters, and you want to have nice, secure toys for them to play with. Now, whether that be, we use Kongs here simply because they last more than a week, and they can play with them. You can also get the different toys and balls, things like that they can play with age appropriate in size. I mean, you don't want to give a little puppy a great big ball. One thing we don't recommend is bones. I mean, you can feed some totally large bone raw, but we tend not to encourage too much yet because I don't want the puppy. As a matter of fact, we just had a dog here the other day, and it was one of our older dogs. And actually, I had to reach in, and somebody had given it a bone, and they had brought it with them when they were boarding, and I literally had to go in and pull it out because they had actually got it back far enough in their throat that it was causing difficulties. So you got to be very careful. I always say watch your dogs with the toys.
You do, yes.
Especially toys. Another thing is squeaker toys and things like that.
Yes, a lot of German.
Toys aren't tough enough. Those little squeakers come out and they're in the dog's mouth in no time.
I was just gonna say that there's been horror stories. You know, German Shepherds. Some of those puppies are really rough on toys, and they tear that open and they get the squeaker. They could choke on it. Yep. Another thing is back in the day. I mean, when I first started dog training a long time ago, we're talking 15 years or more, you know, it used to be, you could give them a rawhide and, you know, let them chew on that. But that's not even safe. For one, they can't digest it. For two, it can get stuck in their throat.
Exactly. Or they could get big chunks into their stomach, which can cause obstructions and all kinds of different things. And if you've ever had to pay for a surgery because your dog just ate the baby's toy, and it's sitting in their poor stomach, and, you know, first of all, it's a terrible thing to see. And then second, it's a very expensive surgery.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
You know, you just don't need things like that. So you really have to watch your puppies. You want to have them with appropriate toys that will meet their biting ability. And like I said, we have always had the tougher chew toys because they just are. Otherwise, the German Shepherds do chew a lot, and they just go through them very quickly.
They do.
And then you got little pieces all over. So we always do that, and we do not give rawhides here either. So.
No. And one last thing before we wrap up this podcast, I want to get back to socialization. So, you know, a lot of folks are under the misunderstanding, I feel it's a misunderstanding as a dog trainer, that in order for their dog to be socialized, that they have to play with other strange dogs at dog parks. But that's not always the case. What I teach is...
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
It means they have to be non-confrontational.
Yes.
They do not have to play. They can totally ignore other dogs and still be social. What they have to learn is they can't see another dog and go after it.
Right. They can't become reactive, barking and growling and jumping.
Exactly. Snarling, showing teeth.
Yes.
You know, you don't need that. That's not what it is. With people also, again, do they have to be the kind of dog that runs up to everybody and needs to be petted and slathered on? Absolutely not. But what we don't want to see is the dog that charges at people.
Right. Or growls.
Yes. Yeah. Those are things we don't want to see. And that's what socialization truly is. Our personal thought, really and truly, as far as dog parks and things like that go, not always the best place, unless you know where you're going and things like this and the kind of place that you're going to. But generally saying, if you're just going to some general place where they let dogs run, you may know what your dog's going to do, but you don't know what everybody else's dog that is there is going to do.
I agree with that. And it needs to be a controlled environment.
Absolutely. Exactly.
because
100%.
because without that, I mean, you have to have good recall. For one, a dog should not be off leash at a dog park running around if it does
Right.
not have good recall. Good recall protects your dog, it protects other dogs. You know, even the friendliest dog, people say, "Oh, my dog's friendly," but dogs have different personalities like people, and it could take 1 second, it could not agree with another dog, and there's your dog fight.
Yeah, exactly. Or, I mean, if you happen to have dogs that are still intact,
Yeah. Yep.
you don't know, but there might be a female in heat somewhere. And I will tell you, if you have male dogs, they
Yeah.
will fight.
Yeah, they sense that and they start fighting for
And
sure.
They can
They-
smell that
yep.
smell for miles.
They can. Yes,
And
they can.
That is the truth. And you really have to. But then again, you can also train so that dogs. I know. We had a dog here named Chief. He was my demo dog when we were training very heavily, and he was an intact male, but he would never charge another male, and that's why we used him so much for training, because a lot of times we had to show people that just because they're an intact male doesn't mean they have to bite and try to kill everybody.
Yes.
You know, you have them trained, and that's where Chief excelled. I mean, we had him in a whole class, and I had 3 in-heat females here, and so he was quite testosterone driven at that time. And I took him to classes.
Jeez.
We had 8 males in that class, and he walked a circle around every one of the dogs, and never once did he look at them wrong. Did he lift a lip? Did he show a tooth? Nothing. And they, as a matter of fact, Lisa, I know we're running out of time.
Yes, we are almost out of time.
One of the gentlemen in that class came up to me later and wanted to check him for personal equipment down below because they didn't believe he was an intact male.
So that just shows you with the right training, started right away, you know, anything's possible. Put in the time. To recap, folks, get a trainer. If you're not sure how to train, get a trainer.
And get a good professional trainer.
Get a good
Like
professional.
you and Jay. Exactly.
Thank you.
And
Yes.
Get somebody that knows what they're doing. And you, like I said, the German Shepherd breed is a wonderful breed.
Yes, it is.
You'll have a wonderful companion.
Well, thank you so much, Darla, for your time. We really appreciate hearing from you. And, well, just thank you so much and have a good night.
And thank you for having me. Talk to you again later.
All right. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Okay, folks, that was our podcast. We went a little over, but always good conversation. So, again, reach out to us. What topics do you want us to talk about? What would you like to know? We can do some Ask the Trainer topics. Just text us, email us, call us. All right, until next time, folks.